Okay, can y'all hear me? Because it says it's going through my headphones, which means I may just have to wear them, which is so frustrating because I have this like fancy microphone, and it like is not connecting for some reason, even though it says it's connected. Yeah. Yes, you can hear me. Okay. Thank you, Cool Kids Army, for letting me know. My goodness, what a pain in the butt. Okay, well, hi. So this setup is not my usual one. Usually I've got my nice fancy microphone and my nice fancy camera and everything set up, and I just didn't have time to set up the camera today, so we're on my laptop camera, which is like, okay. And now we're not even using the fancy mic. What even are all of these fancy tech stuff for if they never work? I say that, they always work. Today's the first time they've not worked. So anyway, hello. Let's start over, shall we? If you don't know me that well, hi, my name is Megan. I am autistic and ADHD, and I educate and advocate on the internet for other ADHD people as well. Today, we're going to be talking specifically about overwhelm and why overwhelm is often very different for neurodivergent people than it is, especially ADHDers, than it is for neurotypical people or people who are not autistic or not ADHD. So some of the typical things we hear about how to deal with overwhelm is like, oh, you need to have a plan, you need to have a routine, you need to be flexible, you need to, and it's like all of these very like counter things, like, okay, have a plan, but you need to be flexible, and you need to like meal plan and meal prep, but also like don't be so rigid about what you eat. And it's like so annoying, I think, when it's like, okay, are we supposed to be flexible or are we supposed to be structured? Because, and I know that's my like black and white thinking getting in the way, I understand that, but still, I find it frustrating that the advice we get about overwhelm is often very contradictory. And I think for a lot of neurotypical people, they can kind of balance those things. But for a lot of ADHDers, it's like, no, we need to know exactly how to cope with this. So I'm going to tell you exactly how to cope with overwhelm, or at least some ways that have worked for me. First is recognizing that overwhelm is your nervous system responding. It is a body thing, not just a brain thing. And so as a result, some of the best solutions to overwhelm are going to be in your body. One of my favorites is ice rolling. So you can get like a little roller that you put in the freezer and you just roll your face and it feels amazing. It like instantly brings my nervous system from a 10 to like a 7, which is huge. So I really recommend that. You don't have to buy the fancy ice roller, even though they're like $10, I think, but you don't have to buy that. You can just get an ice cube and rub it on your face, like it's fine. Or you could get like a frozen bag of peas and put it on your chest or put it on the back of your neck, whatever works for you. But for me, when I'm overwhelmed, the first thing I have to take care of is my sensory experience. Now, this is something that's, I think, very different than it is for people who are not autistic, because it's like my husband, when he's overwhelmed, he doesn't take care of his senses. He takes care of whatever is overwhelming him, which I think is also an interesting thing for ADHD, because ADHDers have a hard time facing tasks head on like that. We often have to like sidle up to the things we want to do, or like take a I can't say that word, circuitous route, like a non-direct route, okay, to get things done. And so I think when you're autistic and ADHD, being overwhelmed, it definitely feels different. Let's see. So, okay, start with ice rolling, in my opinion, I think, or regulating your body in some way. I think ice rolling can be very helpful. Ice in general tends to bring the nervous system down a couple notches. So, if you're kind of the opposite, if you're so overwhelmed that you're kind of dissociated, you might actually want to introduce some heat. Heat can help bring you back online a little bit. So, like a hot shower, a heating pad, something like that. But if you're like, your nervous system is amped and you want to bring it down, ice can be really helpful for that. So highly recommend ice. Then the next thing I do to take care of my sensory environment is I put these bad boys on, or I put my loops in or something. I am very sensitive to noise. Our neighbors have a motorcycle. They take it out like 3 times a day and I loathe it. I loathe it. It is the worst. And so because I can hear it. It's so loud. Even like in my house, it's so loud to me and so frustrating. So, what's the difference between overwhelm and overstimulated? I think overwhelm often involves being overstimulated, but it also tends to involve a mental component where you're overwhelmed by your to-do list or by the things that need done. Whereas overstimulated is like, no, I don't even have to be doing anything. It's just the sensory environment is too much. So overwhelmed often includes overstimulated. Overstimulated does not have to include overwhelm. Does that make sense? Let me know. Let me know if that makes sense. But yeah, I start with coping with the overstimulation. And then I start tackling the mental agony of overwhelm, right? And I say that and I'm kind of joking about mental agony, but it kind of is, isn't it? Like it's kind of mental agony to like, I don't know, feel like there's so much to do and you can't even start and you're so overwhelmed. And I think there's like a lot of trauma that kind of goes into this as well, because especially for ADHDers, we have failed so many times in the past with our to-do list and stuff like that, that it starts to feel really heavy in the future when we try to do stuff. Yes, absolutely. Okay, noble thoughts. So you're with me. So there's that. And then there's also the autism stuff of like, a lot of autistic people in my experience go through something that I call step thinking, where it's like, if this, then that, if this, then that, if this, then that. And it's like a stair step towards our goals. And it can make us really stuck because it's like, okay, if I'm going to cook dinner, I want to make sure like, or no, okay, if I want to clean the kitchen, let's say that's something you know you need to do, but you're like, well, I should probably cook dinner before I clean because it doesn't make sense to clean and then cook because then I'm just gonna have to clean again. So that means I have to cook dinner before I can clean. But before I cook dinner, I really wanted to get a shower. So that means I have to shower. And if I'm gonna shower, then I should probably put on a hair mask because my hair is like falling apart and all this stuff. Oh, I need to eat dinner. Of course, Little Kids Army, thanks for stopping by. Um, so basically, we come up with this huge list of things we have to do before we can do the thing we actually want to do. And I think that that is so hard. I think it's not necessarily a uniquely autistic thing. I think other people likely do it too, but a lot of autistic people I meet with and work with in my coaching really struggle with this like step thinking where it's like, if I'm going to clean, then I need to cook. If I'm going to cook, then I need to shower. If I'm going to shower, then I need to do a hair mask. So now instead of just picking up a rag and wiping down counters and loading some dishes and being done, now you have like this whole list of stuff you have to do. And it's like, I can't do all that though. And it's like, well, in reality, it would be better to just clean even though it's out of order, but our autistic brain is like, no, you have to do this in the correct order, the right way. And that's really frustrating. So I think once you've dealt with the overstimulation part of overwhelm, which is a huge part of it, I think the next thing we need to do is identify what we want to do. And this is a lot easier said than done because I think a lot of autistic people, especially those of us who grew up unaccepted. Now, you may have been diagnosed, but that doesn't mean you were accepted, right? So those of us who grew up unaccepted, whether that meant you weren't diagnosed or you were, but people still like didn't give you the accommodations you needed or the help you needed. Um, I think a lot of us grow up denying our own needs because we're told we shouldn't have the needs that we have. So, like, for instance, if you're like, oh my goodness, the fluorescent lighting is so loud, somebody's going to be like, no, it's not. You're crazy. You're wrong. Like, your needs, your perception of reality is incorrect, right? And I think it can be really hard to identify what we even need to feel better when we're overwhelmed because we're so used to being like, well, I'm wrong. I should just look around. What is everybody else doing? But that doesn't actually make us feel less overwhelmed because what we're going through is different and unique to us. So what I recommend in order to get in touch with what you actually need, it is somewhat of a body thing, right? Like trying to pay attention to your body's cues and what those mean. Like, for instance, I know when my throat gets tight, I need to talk to somebody. I know that that's a sign that, excuse me, I am holding back how I really feel and that I have a desire to talk to someone about how I really feel, that pressure in my throat, like I've got a lump in my throat. Or I know if I'm wringing my hands a lot, I know I probably need some sort of sensory input and that will make me feel better. So you just want to like be a little more in tune, become a little more in tune with what your body's trying to tell you. And this is so hard. Like, I'll be straight up, I'll be the first one to tell you this is not easy. Whether it's because of years of trauma of being told that your perceptions, your needs, your wants, none of it matters, or it's incorrect somehow. Or even if you didn't have that, a lot of autistic people experience something called alexithymia. I'll go ahead and put that in the chat for you so you can Google it. I actually have some videos on it. Alexithymia. Um, so this is basically when you have trouble identifying or expressing your emotions, needs and wants, right? And so especially, well, I think alexithymia is specific to emotions, but emotions are so related to needs and wants that, you know, it kind of intersects. But yeah, alexithymia is when you don't know what you're feeling. It's like, okay, I'm feeling something and it's big and it's uncomfortable, but I don't know what it is. I so understand and relate to that. I didn't think I did. I was like, no, I don't have alexithymia. I am the most emotional bitch in the entire world. Like I feel all of my emotions. But alexithymia doesn't mean you don't feel emotions. Alexithymia means you have a hard time identifying what those emotions are, which totally makes sense for me because think about it. How often do you just say, I'm upset or I'm frustrated? I know a lot of people who use frustrated as like their emotion word. A lot of people with alexithymia pick an emotion that others kind of understand, but also isn't like too concerning. And they just make that their like go-to default emotion that they feel. So like you're feeling a big emotion, you know it's something's happening and you're like, oh, I must be frustrated. But what if you're not frustrated? What if you're like really sad? Or what if you're really angry? Or what if you're overstimulated and you're just like, you don't know what it is that you're feeling? This is super common. I know I did this for a long time. I was like, yeah, I'm just upset. I'm upset. I'm tired. I'm exhausted. I'm frustrated. Like those were my go-tos: exhausted, frustrated, and upset. I didn't really know any of my emotions beyond those things, like at all. um, and it's taken me a long time to like work on that. So highly, highly recommend Lindsay Brahman's feeling sensation wheel if you deal with, let's see, where did it go? If you deal with alexithymia, she's got like such a good wheel that basically allows you to check in on your body and identify what it is you're feeling in your body, and it'll lead into like what emotion you're most likely experiencing, and that's like so helpful. I love Lindsay Brahman is a like visual educator. She's an illustrator and person who educates people through her illustrations, and she just does a kick-ass job of it. Like, we love it. So actually, I should see if anyway. No, I shouldn't. I should focus. I was gonna say I should see if I could get her to speak at my summit coming up in January, which is the Neurodivergent Lived Experience Summit. But doors are already closed for applications. I already have too many applications for speakers. It's okay. Everything's fine. So, um, okay, so overwhelm. We start with overstimulation, then we move on to identifying what it is we actually need and want. Then we have to move to step 3, which is getting what we need and want in a healthy and helpful way, right? So this is often where people get stuck. And this is where I have a solution for you. I'm so excited about it, actually. I created a big, like, I don't even know what to call it, like a template basically that you can get. Let me go ahead and get that link for you. I think it's in the description, but just in case, let me drop the link as well. Okay. So there's that. It's the neurocuriosityclub.com/overwhelmed. And if you go there, you can download the template. But let me go ahead and share my screen and I can just show you the template as well in case you're like, what is this though? So I made this for a client and I love it and they loved it. And so now we're sharing it with people. I asked their permission to use a blank version and share it with others, and she said it was fine. So first up, it's called I'm Overwhelmed, Now What? How you're gonna do this is you should be able to go to these 3 dots and hit duplicate right here. So you may have to sign up for an Xtiles account. This is xtiles.app. I love Xtiles. It's basically like Notion if Notion were easier to use. So highly, highly recommend. So basically, you're going to divide what you do in your life into different categories. So like category 1 might be work. Category 2 might be a romantic relationship. Category 3 might be family relationships, hobbies, household chores. You know, you could divide it into whatever you want. I put 9. You're more than welcome to do more, less, whatever works for you. Then you've got, oh, sorry. Also, you can keep track of the last time you did the thing. So you could put in here, like, let's say you're keeping track of chores and you're like, I would love it if I could sweep or vacuum or whatever you call it, like once a week instead of once a month. Like, wouldn't that be great? So you can just put vacuum here, and then you should be able to pick a date. And you can pick your date, and that way, whenever you log into this template, you can be like, okay, when's the last time I vacuumed? Oh, it's been like a month. Or if you have ADHD and you have a hard time keeping up with friends, you can have a friends category and be like, text so-and-so. And you can be like, ooh, I haven't texted so-and-so in like, I don't know, like 4 days. I should probably text them, or 4 days isn't a long time, but you know what I mean. So you can keep track of all of that here. Then you have when do I do it? This is really good for brain dumping. So you can just like start listing out all the stuff you want to do, and then you can assign each one to like a day of the week if that strategy works for you. Then you've got the how do I do it? Who here has ever wanted to do something, but because they were so overwhelmed in the moment, you couldn't um you couldn't actually do the thing because you couldn't remember how to do it. Like, even though it's simple and the steps are easy, the overwhelm in your brain told you, you don't know how to do this. You don't know how to do this, right? Um, so basically what you can do here is you go back to these categories, right, that were here, and you pick, so like vacuuming, you can click here, see it says open, and then you can add the steps required to vacuum, right? And so instead of activity steps, you could like edit this right here. So it says vacuum, and then all of the steps you need in order to vacuum. Now, this is gonna take a little setup, but I think it's really helpful because when you're in that moment of overwhelm, you don't have to do all that thinking, right? Then there's the why do I do it? This is helpful for like remembering why you're trying to be productive right now, which is super hard sometimes. So you can like put a quote up top. You can do a whole vision board if you like. Xtiles has like has image boxes you can create and stuff. You can list out your values, and you can list out your desired feelings. How do you want to feel instead of overwhelmed? What are you aiming for? Don't just try to get away from the overwhelm, because that could take you in a direction you don't want to go. Try to get away from the overwhelm and towards something you do want to go toward. Then you've got who am I? This is just very grounding. I put grounding in parentheses. You can get rid of that if you want, but I think it's helpful to just remember who you are when you're overwhelmed. Like, okay, I'm not this like, I'm not a ghost. I'm not a rando. Like, I'm a person, and it's okay. So you can put a photo of yourself, identities that matter to me, things I love about myself, things that make me cry, things I like, things I dislike. And then you can do affirmations, or what I call like bridge thoughts. They take you from your current negative thought to like a positive thought that doesn't feel true yet. You can have like more neutral thoughts that help get you there. Questions you keep coming back to, things you think about a lot. Ways that I've changed over the years, good and bad. Ways I've stayed the same, good and bad. And then my accomplishments with a gentle reminder, you have done stuff that matters. So there's that. And then there's also just a brain dump document in here. So this is a document style instead of like the grid style. That was, oh my goodness, now it's going to take forever to load. But like, see how this is like a grid? This is just a document, and you can just like brain dump all you want in here. So this is the template, and you can have it. It's free. I'm very proud of it. I think it's very good, and I hope you all like it. That link is here in the comments. It's the neurocuriosityclub.com/overwhelmed. And yeah, so that is my little spiel on how to cope with overwhelm. Do you guys have questions or things you want to ask about? I think soothing your sensory system, identifying what you actually want and need instead of just what you think you're supposed to want and need, and then getting those needs met. I think getting those needs met is going to be a lot easier with the template. But if that's overwhelming to you, if there's too many tabs, come up with your own system. On a day when you don't feel overwhelmed, don't build the system when you feel overwhelmed. Build the system when you feel calm, cool, collected, cool as a cucumber, right? That's when you want to build your systems. And then on days where you're having bad days, try to use it. And then you don't have to fix it. Like, let's say you try to use this template and you're like, this doesn't work for me. Don't freak out. Just make like notes, maybe in the brain dump section, of like what's not working. And then when you're feeling calmer, you can go back in and you can like adjust the template for yourself, right? Yeah. Okay. Let me know if you guys have questions, because if not, I'm probably going to head out and eat some lunch. But if you guys have questions, I'm super happy to answer them. Let's see. Okay. I'm trying to think if I know anything else while I wait, because I'm gonna give you guys a minute to type. Um, Something very cool is happening for Black Friday this year. I'm not going to tell you what it is just yet, but I will tell you soon. That's probably what we'll talk about next Friday on our live. But I'm doing something you are not going to want to miss. So if you're not on my email list already, please, please, please get on that email list so that you don't miss the cool Black Friday thing, because you will absolutely kick yourself if you miss this. If you want to get on the email list, you can go to the neurocuriosityclub.com. And you can sign up for any of my free resources that will put you on the list, or you can go to the neurocuriosityclub.com/overwhelmed and get this template that'll put you on my email list as well. You just want to be sure that you're on that list because it's a really bananas good thing that you're going to like a lot. I'm very excited for it. I'm really excited to offer it to you guys. It's very cool. I'll just leave it at that. It's very cool. So Black Friday is coming up. We are doing something for it. It's going to be good. What else do you need to know? Oh, I think I talked about this last Friday, but I am off social media now, so I really don't use it much at all anymore, but I definitely am not posting on it anymore. Like, I'm not going to create content, at least for the time being. That does not include YouTube. I will be here on YouTube. But I just wanted to say that, so if you're trying to contact me on Instagram or something, that's not like the place, just email me now. So if you have questions, comments, anything, if you want to work with me, like with me as your life coach, I would love that. Let's see there, Megan at the neurocuriosityclub.com. This is my email. Go ahead and email me with any questions that you have. I do have, I think, one-on-one spot left right now. More will open up in the future, of course, but right now I've got one spot. If you guys are interested in it, I would love to work with one of you cool people from YouTube. One-on-one coaching with me typically looks like 12 weeks. We meet every single week on Zoom for an hour, and it is just super personalized. Like, literally, it is so, so, so personalized to what you want to do. I have had clients who are like, I need structure. And so we built a 12-week plan. We stuck to the plan. We talked about the scheduled thing each week, and that was like what we did. I've also had some people who are like, no, I hate structure. Just sign me up and I just want to talk every week. And like, that's fine too. What I really love helping people with, though, I know it's very personalized and I'm open to helping you with lots of different things, but the three things I really, really think I specialize in are executive dysfunction, emotional dysregulation, and internalized shame. I love talking about these things, not because they're fun and good, but because we struggle with them a lot as autistic ADHDers. We just really struggle with, getting shit done, feeling our feelings in a way that doesn't harm us, and liking ourselves a little bit, right? Like, we all tend to struggle with those things. And I just really want to help because I know I personally have come a long way in those areas. And I would love to provide some assistance in those areas for you as well, because it sucks to feel like you can't do anything, to feel like your emotions are trying to kill you, or like your shame is like corrosive and eating you alive, which I'm very familiar with all of these things and super happy to help with any of them. Let's see. I just met with a brand new client who's going to start not this week, but next week, or not next week, but the week after. I'm so excited. She's like a dream client. So if you're wondering what makes someone a dream client for me, I am always looking for people who are like so self-aware that it's painful and they need help like figuring out how to use all that self-awareness to actually feel better. I love working with those people because that's me. I love working with people who are like, I just want to learn a lot about my brain because I know a lot about autism and ADHD and brains, and I love sharing that information. And so I love working with clients who are super self-aware, who really love knowledge and education, And then I just love clients who I think have a shared understanding of like liberation and want liberation for everybody. I think that is a really unifying factor for me and some of my like best fit clients. Ooh, Bettina, hi. I have to find a job ASAP, which makes me feel overwhelmed, which makes it harder to job hunt and focus and stay on task. I'm in a vicious cycle. Oh, Bettina, I have so been here. And first of all, my heart goes out to you. The struggle to find a job right now, and a good paying job, a job you actually like it's hard. So I feel for that, absolutely. So okay, first, let's take a deep breath. See, like that's always what I do when I'm overwhelmed. I breathe. I breathe through my overwhelm. My therapist actually complimented me on it the other day. I was crying a lot in therapy, but I was taking all these deep breaths and she's like, "Good, like you're regulating yourself. This is really good." And I'm like, "I don't feel good." But anyway, deep breath before you start. Okay. First, I would make a list of your hard skills. Hard skills are things like I am proficient in Microsoft Excel. I am proficient in Adobe Illustrator. I can type 60 words a minute, which is really fast. Like, it's okay if you can't type 60 words a minute, but you know what I mean? I can weld. I am a precision painter. I have my esthetician's license. You know, whatever your hard skills are, make a whole list of those. The next thing I would do is make a list of your soft skills. I'm a good listener. I'm hardworking. I like one-on-one or I like group. Um, I I don't know, am self-disciplined. I don't need a lot of monitoring from a boss. Like I can do stuff my own. Or I take direction very well. With lots of monitoring, I actually thrive and do better. Whatever your strengths are, you just want to like list your soft skills. Then you want to kind of look at these two lists and see if there are jobs that combine them, right? You want to just look for jobs that combine them. Um, and there you want to just keep the door wide open for all kinds of jobs. You know, don't try to come up with the perfect job right away because that actually stifles our creativity and makes it feel like you've got to be okay with wasting just a little bit of time in this job search, unfortunately, because when we try not to waste time, we often get so stuck that we end up wasting more time. It's usually faster to just dedicate yourself to wasting 30 minutes making these lists, you know? um, so the next thing I would do once you've got those lists and you've brainstormed a list of possible jobs, then, you know, I would call a friend or your mom or your sister, brother, sibling, a friend, a past coworker even, and just be like, hey, I need like 2 hours of your time. Do you have 2 hours coming up in the next week or so? And then I want you to body double with them. Body doubling, so effective. It really helps you stay on task, especially when you're overwhelmed, because you can kind of talk through it with the person who's there. And I lost my train of thought. It'll come back. But you want to body double with this person and say, hey, for the next 2 hours, I'm applying to jobs. Can you sit with me in a location where you can see my screen so you know if I'm goofing around? And you don't even have to help me. You can just sit there and scroll on your phone and just look up every now and again and make sure I'm staying on task. And like that helps so much. Now, if you can't do this in person with somebody, you can totally do this virtually. Virtual body doubling absolutely works. What you're going to want to do is when you get on Zoom or Skype or whatever, you're going to want to share your screen so that they can see that you're working, you know, and I think that helps a lot. What else? So then you want to apply, excuse me, goodness, voice crack. You want to apply to as many jobs as you feel you can. And then I want you to take care of yourself afterwards. I want you to do something kind for yourself, something gentle, something like not work related, because expecting yourself to work on these job applications 24/7 is unreasonable and isn't going to help you, right? Like it's just going to make you feel guilty about something you can't help. So instead, say, okay, I did my 2 hours. Now I get a nap. Now I get a cookie. Now I get to go do my nails, you know, whatever works for you. Give yourself a reward, basically. Um, I think that's really important. And then see if you can, if you don't have friends or people in your life who can body double with you, um, or if you do, but they can only do it like once and you need more time, there's this thing called Focus Mate, and you can get like 3 free body doubling sessions a week or something like that, which is very cool. Yeah, 3 sessions per week, free forever. Like that's awesome. So awesome. So anyway, highly recommend Focus Mate. I've heard good things. It's some people say it's a little less effective with people you don't know, which is fair, but some people say it's more effective with people you don't know because it's like, well, I don't even know them and they're like watching me be productive. So I totally get it. So yeah, that is my advice. You want to make a list of soft skills, hard skills, and potential jobs. You want to body double with a friend, apply, apply, apply. And something else that could help is like getting excited for a job instead of like dreading it, if that's possible for you. Like just being like, oh my goodness, it's going to be so nice when I have disposable income, or it's going to be so nice when I get to go to work and take my kids to childcare and I don't have to be with them 24/7, which is fine, by the way. I know there's a lot of mom guilt involved, but like dads don't feel guilty for going to work, so moms should not either. Anyway, so let's see what else. Yeah, that's my big advice. I hope that helps. Ooh, what can I do about eye contact when in an interview? So, what I recommend is doing kind of what I'm doing right now. I'm not like staring at the camera, but I also don't think I'm like avoiding eye contact. Like, I'm not staring off to the side either. What I'm doing is like looking around as if I'm looking at a big picture. So, as I answer questions, I'm like, ooh, I can picture what I'm talking about. And I'm like, ooh. And so, like, getting very animated. Oh, thank you for the practical and doable advice. Of course, Bettina, I hope it helps. And I hope you get a job soon. Good luck. Sending all of the good job vibes your way. um, so what you can do when you're answering questions, especially, is like look around as you talk. I think that is a pretty natural thing that a lot of neurotypicals do, actually. The tricky part is when they're talking, where the hell are you supposed to look? A lot of people say if you look right here, it looks like you're making eye contact, even without you having to actually look at people's eyeballs, which is great. Something I have found helpful is like bringing something to like mess with or fidget with. Again, in an interview, that might be tricky because you don't want to come across as distracted. Or some people see fidgets as childish, which is silly and they're wrong. But in an interview, their perception really matters. So I get it. Um, Maybe like having a rock in your jacket pocket. And so you can like put your hands in your pocket and mess with the rock a little bit. And that can help you keep eye contact for longer. Also, something that helps me is like I can look, nod to what they're saying, and then look away like, okay, yeah, yeah. And like you can look around as though you're integrating what they're saying as they speak. Also, please remember that neurotypicals don't make 100% eye contact all the time. Usually, what neurotypicals mean by eye contact is just generally looking at someone's face. So, as long as you're generally kind of looking at their face, you're probably good. I think the worst thing you can do in an interview when it comes to eye contact is obsess over it. Obsess over the eye contact because that's going to make it really awkward for you and probably for them. So try to just say, okay, as long as I look at their face like 50% of the time, I'm good. Good enough, right? Good enough. I hope that that helps. I hope that helps with the interviews. I don't know. I used to be really bad about this. My college professor, one of them, thought that I had a cold for like 4 years because he made such intense eye contact that it made my eyes water. And he would be like, "What's wrong?" And I would just be like, "Oh, I have a cold." Like I just lied because I didn't want to say you're staring into my soul and I'm freaked out. Like, and I didn't know I was autistic then, so I was like, I don't know what's happening, but I can't handle your eye contact. Um, and so I just told him I had a cold. He thought I had a cold like every day for like 4 years. It was wild. Totally crazy. Ugh. All right, any other questions before we go? I'm super happy to answer questions. I've got about 10 minutes before my laptop dies, so we've got about 10 minutes to chat. Happy to answer your questions about autism, ADHD, coaching with me, what that's like. I can't answer your questions about Black Friday just yet, but go get on the email list if you're not already on it, and you will get the information. It's going to be so good. It's going to be so good. And make sure you come back to my live stream next Friday at noon, because I will be talking about the Black Friday deal, I think. Let me go check my content calendar now, because now I don't remember. Let's see, content. Let's see, what are we talking about next week? Oh, I wasn't going to announce it until the 22nd. That's probably for the best. All right, well, come back in 2 weeks and I'll tell you all about the Black Friday deal. Oh. Okay, let's see. What else? What else? What else? Anything else you guys want to know? I got my nails done today. Look how gorgeous they are. They're like matte with a shiny tip. I'm obsessed. I'm absolutely obsessed. I feel very witchy, which is awesome because I'm going to a event this weekend where I'm going to be reading tarot for people's businesses, and I'm so excited about it. It's going to be so good. I got a new tarot bag because my old bag fell apart. So got a new bag for my tarot cards. Got to bring my Reading Tarot for Yourself by Mary K. Greer, just in case I need to look up a card. I personally don't read like by memorizing the cards. I read intuitively. So I like look at the colors, the symbolism, stuff like that. And I find that really helpful. I find that that's a good way to read tarot, actually. Okay. Anything else, y'all? Okay, well, I've given you a couple minutes to put in your questions, and it looks like nobody has anything, even though there's quite a few of you watching. Hello. Hi, everybody. If you don't know me that well, hi, my name is Megan. I'm autistic, ADHD. I have a couple other forms of neurodivergencies as well. I'm a life coach for ADHD people. I'm not a therapist and not a doctor, nor do I pretend to be. However, I can offer life coaching. I can offer, getting together with somebody who really understands what you're going through, because I've been there. And yeah, I have a whole shop where you can go check out stuff. I've got one individual coaching spot left right now. Feel free to book a discovery call if you're interested in that. I can drop that link. If you're interested in that one individual spot that's left, you can just book a discovery call with me at the neurocuriosityclub.com/discovery-call. Let's see, what else? I think that's it. Okay. Well, thank you all for being here. This has been really fun. And I will see you all next Friday. I am hoping to have a video out on Tuesday for you, but I just don't know. It's been a difficult week. Okay, like let's just be honest. It's been hell on earth this week. I am grieving pretty profoundly, as I think many of us are. And I just don't know if I'm going to be able to get a YouTube video up on Tuesday. I want to, because I know a lot of people are taking time off of content creation right now because they're grieving and it's hard. But that means we're all like just scrolling through the same doomsday stuff and we're not seeing any new, fresh, fun content. And I would love to make that for you. And I'm going to try, but I have got to eat lunch. I have got to take my meds. And then we will see if I can film and edit a video. today. I will do my best, honestly. This next one's gonna be about autism, ADHD, and auDHD and like the differences and stuff, because I did a live on that and people were very excited, but the live is very chaotic. I'm kind of just giving ideas here and there, which is how my lives are. But I thought people might like a more structured video on that. So I'm gonna give that a shot. Sorry, I just tapped my headphone. I don't know if that was really loud because I forgot the mics in there. Sorry, I meant to tap my skin and I got the headphone instead. Okay, well, I'm gonna let you all go. Thank you all so much for being here, and I will hopefully see you on Tuesday with a new video, and if not, I will see you next Friday with a new live. Bye.